Hi there, I'm Professor Blackmore, and I want to welcome you back to my channel and to my series entitled The Diddy Files, Bad Boy for Life versus the World. And I'm coming back to you today to try my best to break down all of the rigmarole swirling all around the attorney representing Rodney Little Rod Jones in his civil lawsuit recently filed against Sean Diddy Combs.
New allegations swirling in the Diddy saga. Well, it's expanding to include others. Fox News senior national correspondent Kevin Cork is here with all the details. Kevin.
Happy Friday, my friend. It is increasingly looking like this Diddy sex trafficking and drug probe is a real ticking time bomb, and I'm talking about not just criminal shrapnel. There could be some civil shrapnel. Diddy's lawyers are firing back. Not only does he continue to deny any and all allegations, they're taking aim at the lawyer they think is behind all this, Tyrone Blackburn. They're basically accusing him, Laura, of promulgating a legal shakedown. Quote, he was just slapped by a federal judge in New York earlier this week for his pattern of behavior and improperly filing cases in federal court to garner media attention, embarrass defendants with salacious allegations, and pressure defendants to settle quickly.
And so, what Diddy's attorney is talking about when he says that Brother Little Rod's attorney was just slapped by a federal judge in New York earlier this week for his pattern of behavior in improperly filing cases in federal court, he is referring to a whole nother unrelated case filed by Brother Little Rod's attorney, whose name is Tyrone Blackburn. Again, a whole nother separate and unrelated case that he filed on December the 14th, 2023, and I will call this case the Fisher case. And you may be wondering why these cases are being filed in federal court, and I mentioned this briefly in a prior podcast episode when I discussed the 5 civil lawsuits filed against Brother Diddy, because some of these cases were filed in New York State Court and some of them were filed in the federal court in New York City, located in Foley Square, which is the United States Federal District Court for the Southern District of New York. And to explain what happened in the Fisher lawsuit that Brother Blackburn filed for his client, I have to provide some background. So, if a person wants to file a lawsuit against another person, it becomes very difficult if the defendant does not live in the same state and county where the plaintiff resides, because for due process reasons, you have to file the suit in the state and county where the defendant resides. But if the defendant does not live in the same state and county where the plaintiff resides, to get around this difficulty, you may be able to file the lawsuit in the federal court in the state and county where he or she resides under 2 circumstances. Number 1, you may do so under what is called diversity of citizenship jurisdiction. Or number 2, you may do so if the lawsuit is based on a federal law or a federal statute. Now, in order to establish diversity of citizenship jurisdiction, the plaintiff must establish that every single person or entity on the plaintiff's side of the case is a resident of a different state from every single person or entity on the defendant's side of the case. And the plaintiff must establish that the amount in controversy in the case is at least $75,000 or more. So the first circumstance is called the diversity of citizenship jurisdiction circumstance. But the second circumstance is called the federal question jurisdiction circumstance, in which the plaintiff must establish that the causes of action in the case are based on a federal law or a federal statute. So, on December the 14th, 2023, Brother Blackburn filed suit against defendants in the Fisher case. And now, keep in mind that usually in federal court, the magistrate judge will handle most of the pretrial proceedings. But on February the 15th, 2024, the United States Article 3 District Court presiding judge of this particular courtroom entered a show cause order based on what the judge perceived to be Brother Blackburn's violation of Rule 11, which basically requires attorneys to be truthful and ethical in documents that they're filing with the court. And before I go into what the judge ordered, it should be noted that she states, quote, on February the 1st, 2024, Brother Blackburn filed a letter accusing defendants' counsel of refusing to mediate with the mediator of color. Brother Blackburn's letterhead in that letter included his name and adds federal membership in the Eastern District of New York, the Northern District of New York, the Western District of New York, the Southern District of New York, the Northern District of Illinois, and the District of New Jersey. Nevertheless, the clerk of the court does not have a record that a Tyrone A. Blackburn is a member of the bar of this court. End quote. Now, y'all, this completely blows my head right off my neck. But let me stay focused because the judge states further, quote, on February the 9th, defense counsel requested an immediate conference to discuss, inter alia, Brother Blackburn's abusive tactics and this court's lack of subject matter jurisdiction over the case. Defense counsel also submitted an email exchange dated December the 15th, 2023, one day after Brother Blackburn filed this case, in which defense counsel advised Brother Blackburn that there was not complete diversity of citizenship between the parties because both the plaintiff and the defendant Fisher are domiciled in New Jersey. Brother Blackburn then filed on February the 9th, 2024, a purported notice of voluntary dismissal as to defendant Fisher, but because the notice of dismissal does not dismiss all of the parties or the action in its entirety, and it was not, in essence, agreed to by all of the parties of record in the case, it requires approval by the judge. End quote. Now, ladies and gentlemen of this internet courthouse jury, I will spare you from all of the details wherein the judge schooled Brother Blackburn on Diversity Jurisdiction 101. And I don't know if he is intentionally deceptive or if he just is not aware of how diversity jurisdiction works. But when you look him up on the New York State Bar, it reveals that he has been practicing for about 6 years. And not knowing whether it was intentional deceit or just ignorance, the judge issues a fleeting reminder of the sanctions portion of Rule 11, wherein she states, quote, if an attorney alleges jurisdiction when reasonable inquiry would show that it did not exist, he may be held liable for sanctions substantial in amount. Further, this court may enforce Rule 11 even after a plaintiff has filed a notice of dismissal. Brother Blackburn, in your sneaky manner of trying to dismiss the defendant that destroyed complete diversity in this case. End quote. In other words, Brother Blackburn, the judge is telling you, don't make me pack my wig and have to tell your ass again because I ain't playing with you, baby boy. Oh, but anyway, y'all, notwithstanding, the judge states further, quote, accordingly, it is hereby ordered that Brother Blackburn file by March the 4th, 2024, a letter explaining the basis of his client's belief that diversity of citizenship was present in this action on December the 14th, 2023, when you filed this mess in this court. It is further ordered that Brother Blackburn shall show cause at the March 5th, 2024 conference why Rule 11 sanctions should not be imposed and why you should not be referred to the New York State 2nd Judicial Department Attorney Grievance Committee for the following conduct: failure to conduct a reasonable inquiry into the citizenship of defendants prior to filing this mess in this action on December the 14th, 2023, falsely representing your admission to practice in this court, and failure to move for admission to practice in this court pro hac vici or to associate with counsel admitted to practice in this court. End quote. Now, y'all, this all completely and utterly blows my head completely off. And this is just the beginning of this bedtime story. I mean, these are things you never want to see a judge put in black and white about you as an attorney in the courthouse community, because they will tell all of the other judges and you are virtually blackballed in that entire courthouse. And it seems that Brother Blackburn represented to the judge that his client told him that defendant Fisher resided in New York rather than New Jersey. So the judge dismissed the case and retained jurisdiction over the issue of the Rule 11 sanctions. Then the judge ordered Brother Blackburn to file a letter confirming his compliance with Rule 11 in 5 other cases. And it turns out that these were cases that were dismissed by other judges within the United States District Courts. And notwithstanding all of the problems that already exist in the Little Rock case, I seriously think that all of this will cause that case as well to be dismissed. But let me stay focused, y'all, because this all completely blows my mind. And even though the Little Rock case has serious issues, in my opinion, based on what the judge in this case is saying, Brother Blackburn did not have the authority to file the Little Rock case in this court in the first place, because he is not a member of the bar of that particular United States District Court. And so the only way that he could have filed or properly filed Brother Little Rod's case was by filing a motion to practice in the court pro hac vici, or to file the case by associating with an attorney who is a member of the bar of that particular court. But if you think this is massive, this judge is just getting started, honey child, because after this second devastating order that she issued in this case, she issued yet another devastating blow to Brother Blackburn and his reputation when she issued her final ruling on the Rule 11 sanctions portion of this case on April the 3rd, 2024. And that is the ruling that Diddy's attorneys were referring to in the news report when they issued their statement regarding the recent case filed by, guess who? Brother Blackburn in California State Superior Court. And the only thing I can think is that those attorneys in California have not seen the things that this judge has written about this attorney, because I can't think that they would knowingly, after knowing all that has been written in this judge's orders, that they would put their names on the same piece of paper as his, because I wouldn't. But I guess that ain't none of my business, y'all. So let me stay focused on the matter at hand, because in her April the 3rd, 2024 order, the judge makes a complete record of everything Brother Blackburn has done in this case, as well as all of the other cases that were dismissed by all of the other judges. And she starts off by stating that Brother Blackburn, quote, was not prepared to address each of the 5 previously dismissed cases listed in her February the 15th order. His submission on March the 19th included his client's declaration, which represents that he had told Brother Blackburn that defendant Fisher had shared with him that she lived in the city rather than in New York City. There is a basis to believe that Brother Blackburn is filing cases in this district without diligently investigating the existence of either jurisdiction or venue as required by Rule 11. And at the March 5th conference, defense counsel reported that Brother Blackburn had told her he filed this case in federal court because doing so would make the press more likely to pick up on it. A reasonable inference from Brother Blackburn's pattern of behavior is that he improperly files cases in federal court to garner media attention, embarrass defendants with salacious allegations, and pressure defendants to settle quickly. Indeed, his submissions to this court have been rife with disturbing allegations against the defendants and defense counsel. Brother Blackburn has called defense counsel in this action a disgusting racist for rejecting his preferred mediators. Brother Blackburn filed a wholly inappropriate 53-paragraph affidavit containing multiple irrelevant and scandalous accusations against Fisher. Regardless of Brother Blackburn's intentions, his actions in this and prior cases indicate a repeated failure to meet his Rule 11 obligations. Significant resources have been spent by judges of the court and defendants named in actions he has filed, i.e., Brother Diddy, to address glaring deficiencies in his filings. A referral to this court's grievance committee is warranted. In conclusion, Brother Tyrone A. Blackburn is referred to the grievance committee of this district for such action as it deems appropriate. End quote. And so, this blows my mind, and my mind is completely and utterly blown by this case and the judge's specific efforts to make sure that she documented every bit of it on the record in black and white, which is like nothing that I have ever seen in my over 20-year legal career as an attorney. Because based on what the judge is saying, Brother Blackburn did not have the authority to file any case, including Brother Little Raw's case, in this court in the first place because he is not a member of the bar of this court. And so the only way that he could have properly filed the Brother Little Raw case was by filing a motion to practice in that court pro hac vici, or to file the case by associating with an attorney who is a member of the bar of that court. And it is my understanding that Brother Blackburn still has not done so. And at this late date, I wouldn't draw attention to it by trying to do so. And so I think it is just a matter of time before the case he filed on behalf of Brother Little Rod will be dismissed, either voluntarily by Brother Blackburn or by the court. And I think what you'll see him do is to refile the case in the Los Angeles County Superior Court in California now that he has found some attorneys to associate with who are clearly not aware of his ratchet reputation, allegedly. But what do you think about all of this mess, honey child? And do you think the judge will end up dismissing this mess? And do you think Diddy will give Brother Little Rod a dime in settlement after all of this mess with this ratchet attorney, allegedly? And do you think the U.S. Attorney General based their request for warrants on information provided by Brother Little Rod's attorney, Mr. Brother Tyrone Blackburn? I mean, I sure hope not. But please let me know what you think by leaving your comments in the comment section below. And I hope you'll also give me a big thumbs up. And I hope you'll also consider donating to this video and my entire channel ministry by donating to the ProfessorBlackmore.com Cash App. And I hope you'll also subscribe to my YouTube channel and set your notifications so you'll be notified whenever I come back with more hot tea from the church house, the courthouse, and everywhere else. And whenever I come back with part 9B in my podcast series entitled, Has Bishop Squashed the Freak Off Party Power Bottom Rumors? so you can find out what else has happened and what all is going on in the case filed by Jane Doe versus Sean Diddy Combs. And please also follow me on TikTok and Instagram.